Hello, Zula is back with more shifting melodies. Sorry for the delay, but we jump right into it. Shall we? Chapter 5, Rising Crescendo. Ledger blinked a few times and groaned in pain, as a headache unlike any other he ever had hit him right between the eyes and under the horn. He tried to move one hoof to where he was feeling the agony, before he was caught in some sort of warm embrace. That sensation made him turn slowly to the side and see what had hauled his hoof. When he saw midnight there, his mind came to a screeching halt as in panic started in. Dreams of rainbow, mangoes, chocolate-covered stallions filled the dream of the city festival, and she was content until she started to wake up to the crushing downside of night of drinking set in. The pain was like repeated blow from Luna's catalog voice. On second thought, the voice was not much worse. She groaned and put a hoof to her head as she rolled over, and felt her nose touch something warm and fuzzy. She opened her bloodshot eyes and blinked at Celestia's sun, pierced them like arrows. She blinked a few times until the blinding light cleared a familiar stallion came into view. Morning, Lev. Ledger himself had clearly overestimated how much good Midna had done to him, or underestimated his memories. He was breathing heavily, scooting away, whimpering something about being a good male. Despite her brain trying to punch its way out of her head, she reached toward him with a small smile. Hey, now, what's wrong? I'm a good male, he muttering, not quite looking at her. I'm a good male. Please go now. Please, put, do not put a knife back in me. Mina Blink actually double checked she hasn't heard her word to bed again. The last time she'd done that, her bed partner was almost soiled himself. Once she confirmed that that was not the case, she smiled and sat back. Hey, there's no knife, and I'm not going to hurt you, silly. I think I'm far more pain right now. Ledger slowly came back from his panic-induced recollection and blind a few times, finally seeing that it was midnight next to him, not any other female. I was... What just happening? He asked aloud. They'd not been that bad before. Then again, he not had any female in his bed by choice ever since. He pulled, she pulled Stanley into a hug and petted his mane. You must have woken up from a nightmare. Don't worry, everything will be all right now. He sniffed a bit at the touch, but relaxed when she realized she cared. Ledger sighed and even started to close his eyes again, losing himself in the feeling before his headache returned with a vengeance. Ow! He muttered, putting one hoof to his head. Does it feel like the entire armor is trying to escape from your skull as well? Yep, Midnight groaned. Never again. Until the next time, anyway. I go pour out some water, Ledger groaned as he moved to stand on his own hooves. Then we can have some coffee. We need to counter dehydration first. He seemed to pause at the moment and asked a very particular question. My memory is spotty. We didn't do anything last night, did we? Mida slowly shook her head. No, we just cuddled. That's all. And for the record, you're very huggable. Let you breathe a sigh of release. Oh, thanks heaven. I don't think I could stand the idea of that just yet. I mean, I'm starting to trust at least one mare again. But full steps. And with that, the unicorn left the bedroom, and Thistral behind as he went to the largest cups he had and began running water for the pair of them. Minette lay back, burying her head in soft pillows. She placed a hoof on her face, feeling her blushing cheeks. What was that? Why was she acting like some nervous little fella all of a sudden? She pulled the blankets over her face. Certainly, her blush was still showing, though. Ledger walked back in, one cup in one hoof, as he didn't trust his magic yet. For you, he said simply, placing on the net back. You're going to want to drink that before the headache gets too worse. A second later, she lowered the blanket a smidge, her flushed face staring back at him. She reached for the mug and began drinking down the water. Thanks, she mumbled. No problem. Once you're done with that and cleaning up, I should at least have coffee ready. Breakfast is, well, I don't know what that end up being. Admitted ruefully. On one hoof, I know I need to eat something, but on the other, I really can't think right now, so suggest a welcome. Been a bitter cheek, still reveling in the matter that usually benefits her. Yeah, that sounds good, she replied as she finished off her water. I'll be in out in a moment with a short nod, understanding. The stallion grabbed a hold of her now empty mug and left to attend to his own dehydration. Once he was gone, Midnight sighed and threw her head back into the pillow. Oh, I know what you can eat, she giggled to herself, sighing that she had gotten that out of her system. Okay, so a nice warm shower first, then we'll see the rest of the day would bring. By the time she got out of the shower, the smell and sound of something delicious wafted its way over her. She almost floated to the kitchen. Her coat was still a little damp, but her mane was tied up in the towel. I smell something good, she purred. Cheese and mushroom omelettes. Ledger said, his back turned to her as he watched the pan. Yours is almost done, and the coffee finished a minute ago. You're a god among ponies, she sighed wistfully, nursing a suddenly full coffee mug like a newborn foe. You're my little precious, here to make mommy all better, she giggled at that. I was unaware I gained 5 dresses. I was unaware I gained 5 dress sizes or a sun or moon mark my rear, Ledger replied as plated up her omelette. Plus, I'm pretty certain I'm still male. So, I don't know who you're confusing me about. Oh, ha ha, Midnight snarked back. And trust me, I know you're male. And a little level more than prove that. Ah, so at least that confirmed what happened, as he said as he began mixing up his own omelette while setting hers to the table. Note to self, when work is done, die of embarrassment. Ah, don't be like that, Song pouted as she rolled her omelette. Besides, if that were possible, you have done so last night. The experience on your face was the cutest thing ever. I'm going to need to find some sort of memory spell if I want to avoid you teasing me, aren't I? Ledger sighed as he poured the egg over a still hot pan. Teasing? I'm not going to be teasing, Midnight replied as he took a bite of omelette. I'm quite impressed, really. But I'll lay off the topic for now. Out of morbid curiosity, Ledger said, pour himself a cup of coffee. Is is it really that impressive? It's not that all uncommon where I come from. Minat coughs on her omelette, causing her to take a swig of coffee, choking on that too, because it was help. Let her turn the heat off his breakfast before come over to giving Midnight a small glass of cold water to help for contracting from the coffee. Goodness! But you don't do that anything by half, he observed. You! You! Midnight wheezed as she downed the water. It's your damn fault. Where do you come from? Do they offer holiday packages there? It's very hard to find a land I come from, Ledger replied cryptically. You either get lucky or to know what you're looking for. And before you ask, I know this about stallions. Let's say local accounting books, and living at that. I see Midnight blushed and decided that it was best to drop the subject for now. Well, to state your curiosity of yours, I haven't seen any that surpass that. And that's coming from me. Huh? Ledger observed that it turned back to rage, resuming his cooking of his breakfast. Makes you wonder what you might have been gone through, everything like that cult should have, doesn't it? You would have gone through quite a few mess. She giggled madly, unable to restrain herself any longer. It was open season now, and the season called Level's Dignity. Image if Frederick and I teamed up. The talent teased as he flipped the omelette. Mina suddenly coughed again. Seriously, was his timing this perfect? Oh, sweet Luna, no, she shouted back. Even then, I will not lose. Just think about it. The unicorn classified sprinkled cheese and mushroom into his breakfast. A young stallion, barely more than a colt, with my environments and healthy sex drive, running into a griffin like Freddy. Oh, the things that could have been. No, not thinking about it. Nope, 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 nope. Midnight yelled, giving up on eating and burying her face in her hooves. Gods above, my head still hurts. Give me a break already. Very well, Ledger relented. Still, maybe you should be glad I'm the way I am. I still say that thinking about marriage do nothing to me. With another quick flip, his breakfast was nearly done. Ah, well, full steps, I suppose. Mina sighed to herself, frowning as she decided to voice concern that had been bugging her. So, you really are going to work today? You like the whole eating and living here parts of your current lifestyle? Yes? Unicorn did panda as she joined her at the table. Breakfast in his group, along with a cup of coffee and two sugar cubes that plunked into said drink. You know, it just. She looked at him with stunning green eyes, wondering about everything. If need be, I defend myself, Lady said honestly. I do hope it doesn't come to that, naturally. But if she catches on to me, I'm not going to go down. Still don't like it. I just have this really bad feeling about today. Mira sighed again as she resumed eating, though with a little less vigor than before. If anything happens, call me and I come running, okay? Of course, Lydia responded. I wouldn't have it any other way. He dumped his coffee in one gulp and then grimaced. Blah! Still too hot, but I need to rush. I think I woke up late. You could always tell them that your mare friend kept you up, she giggled. Wouldn't work, Ledger replied as he took a big bite of his omelette and barely chewed. Firstly, he had the sense of his mind until his mouth was empty before speaking it. Tall things I either been gilded or a lack of sex drives at all. That with a lack of interest I have shown to any doves of the clubs on the strip. Glad to see that she is very much wrong, Midnight chuckled as she finished her omelette. The real question was she gonna do now? She was banned to the inside of the house. In case any pony hadn't noticed, Level house was really lacking any forms of entertainment of non-bookworms. Well, Little said as left a midnight's plate to the sink. Are you going to be okay while I'm at work? With that, the whole stay inside edict. I'm gonna be so bored. Midnight whinnied as she drained her coffee mug. No offense, Lev, but do you have a certain lack of anything that isn't a book? Lev said as he chewed on a reminder of his breakfast. Suddenly, a plan came to him, and he grinned while bolting the rest of his food down. I have an idea, he said. Why do I have a sudden sense of dread? Midnight replied dubiously. Ledger just chuckled and shook his head. It's rather a simple plan, he elaborated. I can think a spell I can pull off, something like the captain's illusion spell, and use it on you. I wouldn't go out more than a few hours, uh, both because the guard detail that hang about the case in told goons have more than 10 brain cells between them, but that there should be more than enough time to take you some shopping. Mina squealed as she leapt from the table and caught Ledger in a flying tackle hug. You're going to let out the ack at the tackling to the floor. Not sure whether he was under assault being cared for at the moment. The affection leaked through shortly thereafter and he relaxed. She finally let him go and stand back up, helping the stallion to his hoofs. This is gonna be fun. Like a ninja going shopping, she bounced up and down, her tail waggling as her shone brightly. Glad you're happy, he said, as dotting himself off with a habit out of the need. So, ready? Ready. Just make sure you make me cute, okay? She was mentally curious what was the disguise she got. No promises, Letter said as his horn started to glow. I'm trying to copy everything but with that disguise itself will look like. We'll make you a Pegasus, and I can that match. But beyond that, it's unfamiliar spell to me. Okay, she said a bit more worried. Just do not try to teleport me into a wall or something. Don't even know teleportation. First and second. I just don't know what your color are going to end up like. You could be plain, hideous, cute, gorgeous. I don't know how to play with that part of the spell because I don't have done that one yet. The Stan explained as his horn was coated in a fine silver light. Now as he keep weaving. Okay, last chance. I can still call it off if you don't want me to try it on you. Ring it, Midnight replied. Being weird color is still better than being stuck inside all day. 3, 2, now. Little started releasing his version of the captain spell onto Midnight. A cocoon of light wrapped itself around Midnight, and once it faded away, the spell was complete. In place of a cute thestral stood a young Pegasus mare. Her coat was subtle light pink and her mane deep violet. Her main style was the same. Was as her tail. Her eyes had been shifted from green cat-like appearance to deep sapphire blue. "Well," she asked, "how do I look? Not too weird, I hope?" "I have a different definition of weird than most ponies," Ledger said, trying to get out of answering. "But you can always look in the mirror to judge yourself." "Pfft, boys," she replied. "Come on, Levi, don't get angry or anything. Just give me the honest opinion." "Honestly, as long as I know it's you on there, I don't gonna give a flipping feather," Ledger said with a shrug. "You could go home looking, play it as you long as you identify yourself. I don't care. I know you're not very good at this thing, but a girl likes to be told she's pretty," Midnight sighed as she glanced into a mirror. "Oh yeah, I look hot no matter what. Still, thank you for this, Lev. Now I can go have a little fun and finally buy some decent bed sheets." "Take care out there," Lev said as he opened the door to leave, before remembering that she was probably going the same way. No telling how dirty the streets are still. "Yeah, I'll be careful," she replied as she trotted after him. And as you tell, there is no telling how pissed Toll is going to be that she lost her hoof haul on the guards at the local PD. "Pretty darn," the unicorn said as it hit the lobby. "It'd be interesting, that for sure. Thankfully, I know a shield spell that I'm cure valuable to her. Just to serve to a war midnight, all the more that she learned over the kiss on his cheek. For luck," she whispered before flying off. "You go, Colt," Estate said as he walked up behind him. "See, I told you Maris was nothing like that. Heck, a sound like this should have moved on a long time before." "Oh, shut up," Ledger said as he cut a look at his landlord. "And you know very well why I didn't. The two The two are the same," the Earthworm stated. "Nymphs be crazy. Mare's also crazy, but less in the chop your balls off sense." "Fine," Ledger's sighed. "What do I have to lose anyways? You will regret asking that later, my lord." The stage chuckled before going back inside his apartment building. They're just snoring and trotting off to work. Today was already getting interesting, and he didn't even punched in yet. Shopping had been immensely fun. Very comfortable bed sheets and pillow obtained, and she brought a few outfits and some things that had been delivered at a later date. All in all, Rebecca was now deeply desperate of Trevor's mare, and she had enough left for food and rent until her next pay week. Last on the list of things was to do was pay a certain Griffin a visit. The bell jingled as she walked in. Exuding an air of confidence, she took a seat at the counter. She tapped her hoof to get the attention of the proprietor of the establishment. "Ah, hello, my dear," Frederick greeted as he came out from the kitchen. "It's always nice to see a friendly face, especially a friendly, beautiful face as well. I'm Frederick, the owner of this fine establishment. How may I serve you today?" "Well, now, aren't you a breath of fresh air, darling?" Midnight cooed. And the heroes were standing to think that all the males in the city was rude brutes. "Heavens, no," Frederick said, one claw on his face. "I may be forward and blunt in my intention, but I respect a mare's decision to leave me in my bed should she choose. There are plenty more mares out there, after all. Well, you certainly aren't lack of confidence. I found that very attractive, she purred. And you have such wonderful plumage. Most Pegasi stallions just don't compare to a griffon. Charms? I do keep myself groomed. The reason beyond vanity, the griffin preened. And after a month of mares I have already had, I have a reason to be confident. But still do get the regular workout. Numbers are numbers, darling Midnight smiled, joining this immense. Even a rookie can surprise somebody with a hidden talent too. But I must admit to find myself a little flustered, sir. A delicate blush greased her cheek. The only one in the city. I know more as much as I do about the autonomy of ponies. Doesn't use it for pleasure. Frederick divulged. He used it for intimidation. Whatever I used, find all the little spots that make mares, no matter what tribe they belong to, moan. And that before I got involved. Should they even want me to? Such boasting! She smiled again, leaning closer to the griffin. But mares also like to be romanced. Tell me, pretty bird, how would you romance this fine mare before you? It depends on what the mare wants, Frederick said with a wink. If she desires a fine meal and wine to go with, I have it here. If she desires a night on the town, I have an assistant in the kitchen. They're current to running off this place over for the night. They know what it means to be, let's say, I will be out with a mare after all. And if she desires to know what mares come back to my bed, well, I would be happy to show her that as well. Oh, that sounds interesting, she purred, tracing a wingtip along his side, stroking a small space spot at the base of his wing. I must say, it's getting warm in here. Sadly, that line I have for that line I have magical temperature regulation installed, but I can still reply with your beauty warms up every room you walk in. The griffin countered. Oh, now that was a nice line, she replied. You should start with that rather than boasting about your bedroom skills. She traced a feather along his neck and her mouth drew closer. Any other line you might have for a little old me? Oh, you! Hardly, the half-bird scoffed. Your youth of vitality evident and sapphire in your eyes. Any colt could be lucky to spend any time with you less than a night. Okay, this bird was smooth as silk, and Minna found herself blushing for real this time. This little plan was starting to backfire, as this bird seemed to be impossible to turn the table against. Well now, that was a good one, dear sir. She smiled and batted her eyes. I found myself lost at words. It's hardly a line as it is to observe the truth. The griffin blushed off. Lines are based off them. For example, the truth that you look a fine mare, I'd love to bring you back to bed. The line would be, I could swim in forever in the sapphire ocean that is your eyes. Damn it, damn it, damn it, you could not compete with this guy. Chabert found the one male in Equestria that could not only flat out resist her charms, but turned them right back against her. There was nothing to do but simply concede defeat at the present moment. He could not compete with him. I'll disappear forever once I leave through those doors, she whispered. I have never met anyone quite like you before, sir, and I doubt I ever will again. Then why don't you delay your departure? The Griffin asked slowly. After all, you it should be a shame that you not sample everything I got to offer you left. I would love to take you up on that offer other day. I wouldn't hesitate. You gave his beak a light kiss and pulled back. Things are difficult for me, like a fairy tale. This marriage is on a time limit. There will be no glass slipper today. Farewell. And just like that, the other thing left was a silent swing door. Oh, well, Fredrik said watch the door swing. The ones that get away just makes the next one to accept all the sweeter, though. Her. I will remember her for a little while at least. Just as midnight bolted through her door, the spell wore off, and a blushing Fessa stood once there once more. That was, oh, he's good. Ledger, the unicorn heard, causing him to look up, bludgeon the most unassumable earth pony you ever seen useless, you ever know his history, which Ledger did. The stallion behind the desk suppressed a shiver before getting up. Yes, Bludgeon, is is it's about the new budget. I haven't finalized it yet, due to the rapidly changing streams of revenue. Boss want you to see you, the enforcer said. Didn't say why. Ha! Well, wish me luck, eh? Larry said with a slight laugh as he walked down the hallway, already preparing his lies as he needed them, along with a proper facial expression. Fucking 3 times he got an enter. Snapped at him, and he mentally smirked and chalked up to another mark in the tall getting unbalanced count. Taking a deep breath, the unicorn pushed the door open and slowly put his head in. Ledger, Tall Taker said behind the desk. Get in here and take a seat. Of course, boss, he said, still with a subdued tone. So you wanted to see me? Yes, Tall said, easing herself into her chair. You've been working for me for a while now, right? Nearly a whole year. Yes, boss, Ledger said with a nod. And you're loyal to the company, right? She asked, putting one hoof unfolded to her desk. I know better than not to be, boss. You pay me more than one in one sense. Here Obliter referred to a secret they both knew, and Toll nodded. Right, right. So why did your roommate know exactly where the other night were we picking up a full re-education? Ledger shook his head. Oh, no idea, boss. Maybe she got lucky. She's a thirsttroll after all. They got good night vision. Toll sighed and leaned back in her chair again, putting one hoof on her forehead. Now that I could almost believe. But the god was closing in around me now. Ledger, Tartarus, I lost the police, the major. My entire black file is become worthless. Here she leaned forward and glared at her accountant. The only one who knows about me is you, Ledger. I know you know about it because I showed it off to you when I called you here that day. I found out. Then, not a week later, you spotted on the grounds late that night. Doesn't take a genius figure out what you were after. But you were surprised that your name wasn't in that folder, huh? It was a little shocking, yes? Yes, boss. But then I realized some secret, like mine. are too important to be written down, Ledger meekly replied. I did some research on my own afterwards and found out all the other secrets you didn't write down, and kept a record of my own purposes. And those would be turning me into the guard, she replied darkly. No, boss, Larry quickly denied. I have a bit of workaholic in me, a bit of OCD. He stopped glaring darkly at him, but motioning him to continue. He allegedly let off a calculated sigh. I copied the book you gave to me. Then I took them back to my study to look to see if there was ever a better way to do things. The black my folder helps with that. I can see which pony can be counted on and which can't. I don't come up with all my great ideas during business hour, boss. Toll hummed and leaned back in her chairs. Say I believe you, which means you are still in trouble for copying the books. By the way, are you saying your roommate stumbled upon your records? No, Lady shook her head. I know the value of that sort of information. I kept all the locked up in my study. Nobody has a key but me, and I don't let her in. Hmm. Told grumbled for a bit. So what? She picked the lock? Hmm. I, it did look like there were some scratches around the keyhole as of late. Ledger admitted. But I can't destroy the record, boss. A little fire that could see that they are nothing anymore. As if she half smart as you, she made a copy of the blackmail at least, told Grumby before sitting back. I like Leggy. I really do. You're better than my last two acquaintances who thought they could steal and get away with it. Your only crime was to me by working too hard at taking it home with you, which, if you had told me about it, you started doing it, then I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it. Heck, I even have upgraded your locks. But now we have a problem, and I want you to fix it. Of course, Ledger said, bobbing his head. Do you want me to figure out a way to get the local guard defunded? Perhaps you were looking for something on Captain Narrow or Deputy Straight? Willing to fix this, boss, whatever it takes. Good, Talltaker said. I want you to kill your roommate. Ledger paused for a moment, processing that the mind fully before responding to the correct tone with a voice. "I- I'm sorry, can you say that again? It sounded like I want you to kill your roommate, Toll repeated with a smile gone. That's exactly what I said. Uh, uh, I see, Ledger said slowly. I assume this is some sort of loyalty test? Prove that I had nothing to do with me, with the problems the company experienced by killing the member of the guard? Something like that. Toll agreed with a nod. You're going to kill her, then burn the body and the books as brought home at the same time. Then will the investigation lose momentum against me? I'll be back there I should be, namely on the top of the city. I'd love you to bring your homework again. But she got and nodded twice. As you command, boss. Mm. I assume you don't want. I assume you want it done tonight. If sooner, Toll commanded. The accountant got up from his chair. All right, I take the care day off and I think about it and how to do it. Toll grinned again and nodded. Take it, sport. But don't come back tomorrow without a vacancy in that apartment of yours. Ledger slowly left his boss' office. After about a minute, the earth pony who fetched him walked in and sat where he sat. Take kill switch with you. Knock out the guard in the building and make sure he offs her, Told commanded the best enforcer. If he doesn't, kill them both. Bludgeon grunted and nodded. Going on off to find his slightly crazy fellow enforcer. He'd hate him working for that unicorn. But there was nobody else there was as good at lethal magic as he was. Mina's song was feeling much better now. She had made her own bed with new sheets, blankets and whatnot. Then enjoyed rolling around on it for a little bit. She also brought a gramophone and some records to play, and lastly, the pony delivering the pile of groceries she bought, along with some nice china and silverware that had arrived and dropped the goods off. She just finished placing the last of it and walked back out into the living room for a drink when the front door opened and signally subtle ledger walking, softly closing the door behind with a minimal application of magic. Hey there, she smiled as she placed her water on the table. How's everything with you? Because I could have blast today. Well, kept from when Fred beat me. That tale for another time. She finally noticed a downtrodden expression and her smile vanished. What's wrong, Billy? She wants me to prove my loyalty, he weakly said, laying down on the floor and sighing. Mina frowned and lay next to him. Okay. And how does she want you to do such a thing? She wants me to kill you, he simply stated, staring straight ahead. Oh, is that all? Wait, what? Midnight reeled back and looked at him. Okay, I know I kinda annoyed her, but that's a bit tad extreme, isn't it? I just leave town or something. She probably also wants to send back a message to the guard, and she thinks you're the reason they even have the intel they do. She explained, not telling or looking at her. Multiple birds with one stone. She doesn't pull any punches, eh? Mina sighed as she kept a little distance between them. And you actually plan on... But it would be very easy to apply just too much pressure on the base of your skull to give you a painless death. Ledger stated, causing Bat Pony to gulp before he continued. My secret is not worth that. A life is never worth another life. You could just have said no, 'cause we're friends and I care for you, she muttered under her breath, still loud enough for him to hear. I'm trying to come up with a way for everyone to win without anyone dying, and getting nothing from forgiving me. If my emotion come up into play during this, there's only a hint of irritation. Rather difficult when she commanded, I also burn your body afterwards. It means you're expecting there will be news or at least Pegasus skeleton in the guard armor tomorrow morning. Bina paced around the apartment, her mind going to work. Maybe Naro can arrange a false report to be putting in the paper. Born an autonomy doll, dress it up in armor and burn it? I could lay low for a whole time. I won't get out or anything. That actually sounds like a workable plan, Ledger admitted. They have to listen to me. If I know her, she expectantly you be dead come morning. So we have to work fast if you have been gone. You have to be gone. Easy. The guest may again let her know there will be next train to Cantonland. You never see me again. She whispered the last part. This was all her fault. That particular moment, the dome buckled in with excessive force, clipping Ledger's head and knocking him right out as it flew by. Bennett dived to one side to avoid the flying wood and glared at the new opening. This could not have been anything good. Night, night, pretty bat, the unicorn said from behind her. The earth pony that just done extensive property damage. A spell had already been charged on his sword, and he was merely taking aim now. Song's eye widened as she wasn't wary of. She had no clue what spell that might be. Her wings flared and she prepared to avoid whatever it was thought. Fortunately, the beam of light flew the next second and impacted on her head, making her feel like she had taken a nap. Sleep sounded good. Hello, Flora, my old friend. The next thing you know was the sound of unfamiliar unicorn again. This time telling her, "Wakey, wakey, time to see your cult friend die." Her eyes snapped open and she lunged forward. Or she would have if she wasn't bound to share with that mutant earth pony holding it down. Huh, 3 stones and some rope. Haven't done this in a while, she chuckled, trying to keep her racing heart under control, and hopefully buy some time. Too bad. We have a lot to done it with you, wouldn't we, Bludgeon? The unicorn asked and he kept the barely struggling form of Ledger still within his magic. The still holding her down nodded and grunted. But that's not an option anymore, love. Now, what's going to happen? We're gonna kill this little right in front of you, the unicorn said, pointing a hoof at the base of Level's skull. Right here. Done right. It looked like you punched him too hard. And once you realized what happened, you put on a big, thick girdle and walked off the tall building with your wings bound. At least what's going to look like tomorrow morning. I take that back. I only seen 3 mares and 1 stallion, she muttered. What's the matter? Can't fight a little mare on equal terms? Gotta tie her up first. Yeah, real big of you, she spat. Besides, that idiot stallion has no clue what's going on. I stole the book right from under his oblivious nose. Save that for the afterlife, the unicorn said with a roll of his eyes. We took a look around this place after we knocked you both out. He had been planning this for a while. You are means for that sort of end. Too bad for you. That involves crossing our boss. And the only one I trust to take you is Bludgeon here. If you gave him a pair of wings. Now the only more last question before we got off with this show. Maybe she got them mad enough. They would go after her first. Given Ledger time to wake up and run away. Yeah. Yeah. Where's that pussy you call boss? She back home clapping to this? Cause no stallion wanna put up it in there. Enough talk, rumble actually spoke, sending vibration through the chair. Couldn't stand said it better myself, the unicorn agreed with glee. A charge built up on his sword. Say goodbye to your cold friend Bat. But don't worry, you join him soon enough. Oh, fucking kill you, she roared, trying to get free. She had to stop them. She was a guard, one of the Celestia's elite. There was no way she was going to let either herself or Ledger die. Lever! Wake the fuck up! The stallion barely snapped his eyes open before the magic leapt on the rival unicorn's horn and impacted the back of his skull. He gasped once and slumped forward, eyes closing in and form going limp before he was dropped from the unicorn's hold. And that's one down, the murderous son of a bitch said with far too much glee. Ledger, midnight breath caught in her throat. No, wake up, Lev. You're tougher than that, right? Please? Why don't you... Why did it have to be like this? Not again. Rumble's eyes widened and he pointed at the body. Switch. Is he supposed to smoke? The unicorn turned around to see the small plume of black smoke rising from the body. Okay, I did not do that, he muttered before backing up. Just what's going on here? You set him on fire? Midnight nearly threw up. Was killing him not enough for you? Hey, I don't know how good these ears of yours are, but I did not, the unicorn said before her bodies burst into flames. Silver-colored flames. A pattern that was oddly familiar, especially to Midnight. She held her breath. It couldn't be. There was no way. Then the flames cleared. There was a black and grey changeling laying there, slowly picking himself up to his full height, which seemed to be somewhere between Princess Celestia and Princess Cadence. The shell was in back flipped open, revealing silver wings. Then he opened his eyes. In fact, they were grey with cat-like pupils. The second thing they noticed, the first thing this is seen to be full of rage. Minnow couldn't speak. Her eyes were wide open. Her pupils shrunk to the size of a breezer's. Level Ledger. The stallion she was living with. The stallion she was friends with. The stallion she may have liked. Was a changeling? Boss did not say anything about this, Rumble said, backing up, taking his hoof off the chair. Crud. I didn't think I know anything about dealing with the bugs, Killswitch said, also backing up. Rumble, think you can take him? Before anyone could move towards him, the changeling drew in a deep breath and let out a world-left hate-filled screech, as only a changeling could. Midnight winced painfully as the sonic blast assaulted her ears. If it wasn't for the fact that Cestral could do something similar, her ass would probably be bleeding by now. But the other two? Make it stop! Rumble shouted as he fell to the ground, covering his ears in front of it with his hooves. I'm trying, but nothing working, Killswitch shouted back. I can't concentrate for the noise. As soon as it had started, it stopped, and the two stallions were encased in a familiar silver glow before they were slammed into a nearby wall. So, just going to kill me, huh? Larry's voice asked. Just going to try to kill me, just like that crazy nymph 3 years ago, huh? Midnight blinked away the pain in her head as she saw the pure hate that filled his eyes. After all she'd seen, he had something similarly tried to kill him a while back. and had now found a very good outlet for that pain. Still, Level, she said with a hoarse tone, don't, don't kill them. The changeling paused before turning her head, setting the chair upright. A ripping sound, for she signified that he had cut the ropes with magic as they fell slack around her. Then turned back to the stands and laughed. Did you hear that? Probably not. So let me repeat that. That mare that you were going to kill begged for your life. That's the only reason you're alive right now. You broke my fucking disguise, he screamed at the end. Out, I'll kill ya! Minard reached towards him, her hoof flinching away at first. Before she shook her head and suddenly hugged him, whispering to him softly, "And my friend wouldn't become like them. My friend is big stallion and wants to see justice done the right way." Ledger breathed deeply a few times, calming down noticeably, before talking aloud to Midnight without looking at her. "Were we going to by the law of my kind? The one that break my disguise either have to be sworn to secrecy, mind wiped, or killed. Anyone who knows. Anyone." He turned to look at her at the end, a small smile. "So what do you recommend for them and yourself? 'Cause I doubt they're going to keep any promise we have them make." Bindason took a step back. He could feel the trace amount of fear that started to seep into her, but feeling the resolve and happiness washed it away. "How accurate is that mind wipe?" Let her hum an odd sound when it came to him. "I could probably make them forget just about this night, but not practice it before. Might overshot to get the past week." "I'm sure they've done a lot more than just this week," Midnight agreed with a small grin. "It often put them away for life. Too bad they suddenly got drunk and started a fight with an innocent mare." "Good plan, but what about that?" Ledger asked, pointing at the ears, which were still flickering around, trying to hear anything softer than a thunder and fading. "Too bad they picked on a Thestral," she said, devious grin wider. Then she saw his still confused expression. "What do you think? You're not the only one with that trick. Why do you think I still can hear?" "Fair enough," he agreed with a chuckle, and his sword glowed even brighter. Two lances of light jumping from and impacting the head of the stallions. Fortunately, step one of the mind wipe was to knock them out. "So, most certainly you have about 1,000 questions for me," he said, rubbing one whole forehoof against the other. "But first, swear on whichever princess you hold dear you will not tell anyone." "So, you want to mind wipe me as well?" she asked. "I'm not a means to an end." "I could never mind wipe my friend," he said simply. "I'd really rather not kill you either. But don't make me go to those choices, please." "I promise that I won't tell a soul," she said with a small smile. "But if that's all the same to you, I think I'm going to freak out and faint for a while now. Don't do anything naughty with me while I'm out, okay?" Just before she hit the ground, Ledger caught her in a magic aside. "Nymphs," he muttered before donning his disguise again, and began the process of not figuring out where they were, but where her bed was. The moon was high in the sky by the time Midnight Song awoke. Her head was pounding and she flayed a little to remove herself from the comfy bed. Once the monumental feat accomplished, her eyes widened as she memory came flooding back. She bolted unsteadily out in the living room, hoping that this whole debate was an alcohol-fueled dream. The fact that Ledger was putting the front back on his hinges told her everything she needed to know. And that about, ah, you finally recovered, he stated, without even turning around. He yelped when midnight was suddenly right in his face, checking his eyes, opening his mouth, and even looking in his ears. It is you, right? She hesitantly. I've always been me, Ledger said with a small smile, before closing his eyes and reopening them in changeling form. But then, there always have been more to me as well. He closed his eyes again, reverting them back to a normal state. She jumped back when he done that. A small part of had been hoping that they had done some illusion spell to make himself look intimidating. Change back, she said. I have to see it for myself. Once I restore our privacy, he said, motioning to the door that was still hanging on its hinge. Mending it fully will take a minute, but feel free to ask me anything while I do so softly, please. So, is that an illusion? She asked quietly. You really one of them? Is it surprisingly? He asked while raising an eyebrow as he mending the cracked door. I know at least a dozen or other similar cases in the city that work the strip. In a town like this, it's one proud of the red light district are going to attract us. I totally bet Frederick is one, she muttered. So, she sighed and shook her head. Sorry, my training is screaming at me to attack you, but everything else is competing with the opposite, and I'm still coming to terms with the fact that my life was saved by a changeling, and now as I sound insensitive and ungrateful, which I'm not, I really thank you that you saved both our lives. And now I'm guessing that your big secret and let's just chuckle and finally closed the door and locked it before turning and sitting on his haunches in the front of midnight. Tell me, son, what's the policy regarding links are found in Equestria? Do you know what they do with them? It's difficult, she sighed, taking a deep breath. Princess Celestia wants peace with them, and I'm inclined to agree with her. We have to report any sightings to our superiors or the princess herself. The changeling is monitored, and if they're found to be hurting anybody, they are taken up into custody. She rubbed her foreleg and sighed. The view of general populace, though, is more black and white. Changeling are evil. End of story. You forgot the part where they deport them, Ledger pointed out. Well, since I've been here for a year, just a little before the wedding, what do you think the odds that nobody will believe me when I say there never was a ledger until I made him up? Yeah, there's also that, Midnight sighed again. Her ears perked up and he smiled though. But you say me. I gotta count as something, unless you plan to eat me later or something. No offense, but I'm not a member of the same hive that eat lust, Ledger said, sticking his tongue out. All the links like basic positive emotions like care, friendship, and especially love. But we all have our tastes after all. I can rarely get my preference food from you. Oh? She blinked. Now she was curious. Nervous and questioning be damned. This was new top priority. And what taste would that be, Mr. Level? The aha moments top of the list. But really, I like the sensation of someone learning something new the best. Other ones with my colors do. She explained, waiting for her to catch on with a smirk. 5, 4. Are you calling me stupid? She yelled. Ah, there it is, he crowed. And nah, just you don't tend to put nearly as much effort to learn something new accomplished to say so. A bookworm. That's why I hang around libraries a lot when I get the chance. So, you like the taste of nerds? Mina shrugged and giggled. Well, to each their own. Now there was she always wanted to ask a changeling. So, your disguise. Are they actually a transformation or more of an illusion? I want to say, as he rubbed his chin backward hoof, that 95% of the time, when a Ling disguises, they're using the inherent magic to do a full transformation. The other 5% those that just simply can't. Disable and can't transform. Instead, they're using illusion to hide themselves. So both then, Midnight nodded. Happy curiosity had been sated. Well, there we go. Always wanted to know that. Yep, you get the windows, I get the and I get you to the earlier request, he stated. Still sitting on the floor, Bidlet moved to each window and closed them, making sure there was no gap were visible. Once she was done, she looked back at the level and held her breath. This time, the silver fire that consumed his form was replaced with one that she only seen once, somehow softer, gentler, less of a raging inferno, more like of a candle. Then the process finished. The Ling sat there, with his eyes closed for a moment before opening and showing the cat eye people to her again. To be honest, I know this far makes me look fat, he joked. Bindat couldn't help but laugh at that. She felt nervous as hay, but now all she saw was her friend, the one she knew for at least a week. She took a tentative step forward and kept doing it till she was within reach. So, this is what you really look like? She breathed softly. She raised the hoof and touched his chin. "Hmm, may I?" "Please do," he said with a wink. "It's a shame if you don't get the chance to examine a living changeling who has no interest in killing you. I admit, this is the first time I touched one without the punch following right behind." She pressed the hoof gently against his broad chest, tracing lines along the carapace and hummed thoughtfully. It's so hard. Hmm, probably the only reason I'm alive," he admitted. "You woke me up in the time for me to feel the murderous intent of the pony behind me. And after that little incident I went through when I first arrived, Todd taught her hitman easy ways to kill. So I went with emergency revert on the back of my neck. And it worked. So while I was saved you saved me first. Sung Hoof trembled, but she was no stranger to being killed. She had been terrified that he almost died. Someone she vowed protect. I was scared, she whispered. I thought I thought they It takes more than a simple blast to kill this drone, he boasted. Though that probably have stunned the lesser one into dropping their disguise as well, if not doing serious harm to the shin, who rubbed one hoof behind his neck, where a faint web of crack had been seen. Still stings. Will you be okay? She asked worriedly. Can your shit heal or anything? We shed it when we need to, he explained. Either over time or when we get hurt. Just gotta let the new stuff grow first. Minot smiled and waved the hoof. Little shitten grow real fast, he sang, and kissed the wound. So this injury just won't last. You took cute for your own good, the changeling muttered. Seriously, the edge's starting to taste sweet. And it's coming from me, the drone that put sugar in all his drinks. I do try to keep up a sensible balance between adorable and sexy, she giggled. A thought occurred to her and her gaze drifted back downwards. Now, I wonder if something else changes while you like this. Ah, he is trying to put a little distance between them. Okay, I'm not really sure of that right now. Aw, Midna pouted. Well, whatever. The next thing she wanted to question was his overall appearance. His looked vastly different to the changeling she'd seen before. So what's up with that? You have bits of silver, carapace, and your eyes have pupils. Ah, well, the silver denotes my particular height, he said, pointing at the overall color scheme. Appeared to be silvery or grey. We are the knowledge seeker. Anytime there's something new to learn, we be on hoof. As for the eyes, they're sort of tied to who being at a bit bigger thing as well. He trailed off and coughed a little bit of trying to think appropriate way to word that wouldn't send her into a panic or squealing fit. We now process this information. I've seen some bug like you before, she said, but only once around a year ago. Yep, he said, nodding as he figures straight and true was the best way. My uncle's king of my home hive. My mom's his sister, and she chose to be a duchess rather than a queen. So I'm technically a duke back home, but noble drones are barely treated any better than normal ones. His eye flickered towards where he stashed the pamphlet and shrugged. So you are like Chrysalis in a way, she nodded. Then at least you're better looking. She took a moment to step back and just look at him. It was real experience. Be- being this close to a changeling, one that she called a friend, even now, might take some get time to get used to. But she smiled and nodded again. I can certainly live with it. Plus, I wouldn't be a lot more stress free for you to know that I know. Being able to come home and knowing that you have nothing to hide. It would be nice, he said softly. And hey, I can't help that I'm attractive. Apart from my coloring on what being noble born does to a changeling in form. Well, not complaining, Midnight smiled, her eyes lingering on his broad chest, those powerful legs, and stunning gossamer wings. Her eyes twitched slightly if he hit her like a runaway train. Oh, Celeste, I think he's hot like this. That was something she never thought she'd ever think. Ledger visibly squirming a little bit and crossing his leg in front of him. Keep keep it down with the lust. I can sense that from 50 feet away he whinnied. Does things to me. You mean you mean Mina's smile spread like wildfire. She discovered her new superpower and was going to abuse it, the ever-loving hay out of it. I can get you aroused by thinking about it. So I started the other day. I was low on energy and I needed a quick boost. So I walked the strip. He explained, doing his best to hide the evidence that he was walk. When you're thinking about me like that so close, I can't help but pick it up. I sort swear to use his superpower for my own amusement only. Midnight said it all seriously, placing a hoof over her heart. Which would explain why I haven't gone soft yet, Lidger groused. Somebody wants a peek. I refuse to answer, Midnight giggled, even as her line of sight betrayed those words. Okay, all jokes and such aside, her smile fell and replaced by a serious look. I don't know what about you, but I don't take kindly to somebody trying to kill me on purpose. I really hope I don't get to punch. I hope to get punched tall in the face until I feel better. And by then, she may not have much of a face left. Oh, I don't either, Larry said, calming down a bit. It's why I went to Narrow, told her a modified story of what happened, and why you're now officially dead. But none of your things have been moved out. But the study is kinda gone. Those two trashed it. Wait, I'm dead now? Mina blinked. I'm still processing this. Oh, my friend is a shankling thing. Can you please elaborate this time? The story is going to be that the first body, the local university had one, in guard armor, was found badly burned, along with quite a quantity of the burned paper. That just said with a wink. Thankfully, I got most of the details regarding that we're going to need to knock her out here. He held her hoof to his head. However, in the order for Toll to believe that I did what she ordered, you need to be dead. Which, hey, you can do from here as long as never answered the door. Okay, so I become a hermit bat and live my life out inside. Mina sighed as she knew this was her idea to begin with, but damn, it was the pressing prospect. Especially since she was really wanted to hurt opponent named Tall Taker. Well, that's following plan. Is there a following plan to that, or is this my life now? Narrow and the LPPD are coordinating, trying to not make any obvious moves. I've indulged what I know, when they're trying to pull all of tall legs out from under her at once. Then, once I clock out 3 days from now, which by the way, then they are planning out of the way. Once I'm out of the harm's way, she's going down. Plus, that gives you 3 days to learn all about changelings. Minute responding with a blush, and he started to think about all the sorts of lewd thoughts, mostly about the various anatomy lessons the pair of them might engage in, before she reached his current phobia regards those of her gender. So, are you planning a report in tomorrow? She asked, hastily changing back the topic while she was got her cheeks under control. I have to report in tomorrow, but Toll never said when. I figure I can just show up early and ask for the day off in the light of everything I had to do. Would you mind posting a letter for me tomorrow? She asked. There were a pair of ponies she would think of that needed to be told right off the bat. Pun intended. That she was okay. I might be able to do that, but not directly. I don't typically send mail. So if you want it sent, I'm probably going to have to discreetly meet up with Naro at Frederick's and give it to her to do. As long as it gets delivered, I don't mind. But make sure no pony, I mean no pony, sees who's it from or where it's going. That must be kept a secret if this ruse needs to be. Re- that must be kept a secret if this ruse to be believed. A simple illusion spell will make it until it makes to the post office. Ledger said with a nod, though looking it until a keyword is said is actually not impossible now that I have this much energy. You can do that? Midnight blinked. She didn't know a spell that's like that existed, but then my parents might not know how to open it. I was going to mask it until your local post office, Ledger clarified. Then have Narrow say the keyword to reveal that it needed to go to the post pony to make her swear not to look at it herself. Sounds good enough? Yeah, I don't mind you or Narrow. I just don't want any pony to read it that it shouldn't know that I'm alive. But now, but my parents, what happens when they get the news that the only festival in Las Vegas has been killed is released? You certainly don't want my parents to think that. Fair enough, Ledger agreed. Write your letter. I'll try to get it sent directly. Hopefully it reached them before the news does. I wish I had an instant mail delivery like Princess Twilight. But I guess this has to do, Bindat said. Got a query on some paper? Email pointed toward the study in response. Bindat nodded and trotted off to write her letter. Tonight had gotten really weird. She had a lot to think about as well. Sure, she teased him earlier, but what was it for her to feel for him? It couldn't be love. Never again would she fall for that trap. She refused to be somebody's obedient servant. So why did her heart beat so fast whenever she thought about him? Holy crap, that was long reading. Uh, I have no idea. Uh, Shite. 5,300 words. No? 10,693 words in this chapter. Oh, my voice. It's trying to kill me. I'll be off now. It's getting late. But I'm going to put this up on YouTube, and please subscribe, and I will try to do more. See you another time.